Hey guys, welcome back to the SourceFed podcast here on youtube.com/SourceFed. Thank you guys for listening or watching. If you want to listen to it only, if you're that kind of person, you go to iTunes, search the SourceFed podcast or SoundCloud. They're both there. Make sure you rate and review. We always appreciate that. That's a single camera right there. Thank you so much for that. But today on the podcast, I'm Sam. I'm going to be talking into the microphone, but also speaking into the microphone, we have Ms. Bree.
Hi.
And Mr. Matt.
Hello.
How you guys doing?
Oh, so great, Sam. Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you, but also thank you to our sponsor of today's episode. It's brought to you by SquareSpace. SquareSpace is the easiest way to create a beautiful website, blog, or online store for you and your ideas. SquareSpace features an elegant interface, beautiful templates, and incredible 24/7 customer service. Try SquareSpace if you'd like to, Matt or Bree, or I might even try it out at squarespace.com/SourceFed and enter the offer code SourceFed at checkout to get 10% off. But guys, what have you been into this week?
Ooh, well, I was saying before the show, and I want everyone who's watching to know this. So Bree is wearing a shirt, and it says "badass" on the pocket.
This is an Elizabeth Banks shirt. This is a hoo-ha-ha
snap. That's a
shirt.
hoo-ha-ha shirt?
Yes, it is.
Well, I was looking at it before, and I could have sworn that it said "sad ass."
Also accurate.
And I love the idea of a sad ass as like someone like a badass who's like, yeah, really tough. It's like sad ass is like that extreme but sad.
You have
know
a 90s cop duo show.
Yeah.
Badass and sad ass.
and sad ass.
You know what I was just thinking the other day is like how funny, and I'm sure someone's already done it, but good cop, sad cop.
Yeah.
I think I've seen that. They do it
Probably.
with, I think Family Guy did one.
Okay.
With like an old cartoon.
It's
or
just
something.
somebody who's crying.
What about good cop, glad cop? So there's a cop who's really good at his job, and then a cop who's just delighted by everything.
just happy to be
just
there.
having a great day.
What if you guys made a super serious sketch on Nuclear Family, little plug, of good cop and then the Hamburglar? Not the Hamburglar. I mean the commissioner with the hamburger
you
head.
mean Officer Mac? Officer Mac. So, for anyone who isn't aware, back in like the 80s and early 90s, there was a whole cast of McDonald's characters. For you had your Ronald McDonald. Yeah, Ronald McDonald.
Mm-hmm.
You had his best friend Grimace, who was purple, slow.
we read
friend.
we read the Wikipedia. He is described as a simpleton.
A simpleton.
A simpleton.
It's really sad. Birdie, who was arguably his love interest, even though she was a bird and she looked like she was like 12 for a bird.
Cool.
Like a 12-year-old bird with like goggles.
For sure.
The Fry Kids, which were self-explanatory, Fry Kids. There was Mayor McCheese, who was the mayor of McDonald Land.
How do you have
Sam
all
had
this
a really
info?
good cosplay of Mayor McCheese.
Thank
Oh,
you.
yeah, I remember
that. Was a lot. That was a really fun video. We did one on SourceFed. You can go check it out, where we built our own cosplay and we built the thrift shop like cheap version of our cosplay.
Maud had to be Jar Jar Binks. She
Yeah.
hated
It was so funny.
It was so
Yeah.
good. And Steve had the best. It was Tars from Interstellar. So it was
Yeah.
just 3
Oh,
boxes.
yeah.
And he spray painted them to look like Tars. And he actually gave that to a kid. But anyways, continue with
That's
your
awesome.
McDonald Land's
Yeah, so
canon.
Fry Kids, Mayor McCheese, Officer Mac, who protected the populace, and the Hamburglar, who stole everybody's hamburgers.
Question.
Yes.
Were there McNuggets?
There were also, I believe, McNugget kids. I think they were just called the Nuggets. But I cannot be certain for sure. We'll have to get
Was there
our
ketchup?
fact checker Audrey on that. No, ketchup did not play a role in this world. But I love that in that period there were, I don't know if Wendy's had their own characters, but Burger King had the BK Kids Club too.
Of course.
Do you remember them?
No.
So like
I know the name.
they were like, like a multi-ethnic, like super fun group of active kids that like all fell into different like stereotypes. Like there was like the nerdy kid with glasses who had like a Game Boy, and there was like the African American kid who was good at sports. There was a kid in a wheelchair. But it's like, we are the world, we eat Burger King, basically.
And McDonald's had all the characters.
Yeah, so like they eschewed the human characters in favor of like a fantastical Mr. Rogers style world.
I just remember Carl's Jr. chicken stars. Oh, girl.
You loved them?
Do you still get
Loved
'em?
it. No, I don't. I don't even.
I don't
eat
even
it
think they
anymore.
still make chicken stars.
Oh, yes, they do.
They do?
Oh, when you're drunk at 1 a.m, they make chicken stars, and they make them in big quantities.
Oh boy.
And you gotta, whenever you eat chicken stars, you always gotta eat one leg at a time, and then you eat the
Obviously.
middle.
I've
and you
never
dip-
had a chicken star.
What?
Why wouldn't you have a chicken star? Well, you
Because
gotta-
I'd never had Carl's Jr.
Didn't you guys have
until
Hardee's?
They had them, but not in New Jersey. I'd never had Hardee's or Carl's Jr. until like 3 years ago.
I still haven't had Sonic. and I don't know if Sonic's
Buddy.
good. Then we
It's
don't have Sonic.
good.
Have you guys
Well,
heard of
okay.
Sonic?
Yeah, I used to go to Sonic in Arkansas when
Oh,
I go
yeah.
to visit my family, and that was like OG Sonic. Like they know how
Yeah.
to order food there.
Let's be fair though. Sonic food is fine. It's fast food, but
Sophia's
the
saying no.
limeades,
Desserts.
the limeades and the slushies are why you go.
And the sweet tea.
And the sweet tea, and just for the general experience, pulling up to the drive-in style thing, having the person come up to the car with your
Dramatic
order.
reactions to Sonic in the
People-
crowd.
People love Sonic. It's a big deal, especially I think to like all the people who grew up watching commercials for Sonic who never got to have it. So it's achieved this like mythic reputation. I would say even more so than In-N-Out, because In-N-Out doesn't really advertise.
They don't have to.
They don't have to because it's that good. Although Shake Shack is better. I don't know if I don't know if you guys have ever had Shake Shack because it
I
has
have.
not been in California until very recently.
You are
But
so excited.
I am
Shake
so
Shack.
excited. So Shake Shack is an East Coast burger joint, and it's widely considered among like foodie types to be the best fast food style burger available.
Is it
Wow,
like
why?
fancy? Is it? It's not drive-through.
No,
right?
it's not drive-through and it's not fancy, but the burger patty itself is kind of because it's made of 3 different cuts of meat.
Is it?
Patty.
Is Shake Shack? Does it have like big kind of neon type Broadway lights that are like on the side of the building?
I don't
There's one in
know.
Austin, Texas. I saw,
Yeah.
and I think there's one in Santa
Yeah,
Monica.
it's like it looks kind of upscale and fancy
Yeah.
a little bit, and the burgers do cost a little more, but they're just really, really good. And for vegetarians, Brie, they have something called a shroom burger, which is a crispy fried portobello mushroom stuffed with cheese.
Ooh, daddy.
That's on a bun. It's incredible. You can get a Shack Stack, which is
Ooh,
a burger
patty.
and one of those all together. They have crinkle cut fries, but their burgers,
Crinkle
not
cut
only are they
fry.
perfectly seasoned, they are made of chuck, brisket, and
Yeah.
short rib.
Ooh.
Okay?
Not for
3
you, but brisket though.
not
A
for
brisket
you.
burger is goddamn. That sounds like
but
goddamn
that's,
heaven.
That's the thing. So like chuck, it has that just kind of like really beefy flavor, and brisket has kind of like this like intense meatiness, and then the short rib gives you the fat.
the way you're describing it, it sounds like Chuck and Brisket are like a team.
I would love to watch
two
buddy
two
cop
guys
show.
named Chuck and Brisket
Yeah.
solve crimes, and they're full of flavor and pizzazz.
and their dog's name is Short Rib.
That's pretty
I would
good.
totally
That's
watch
a
it.
cute name for a dog.
Shake Shack should totally pick that up and make that their like kids club kind of dealie. Is Chuck, Brisket, and Short Rib, and they solve crimes with their buddies, the Crinkle Cut. Or no, they solve crimes fighting the Crinkle Cut gang.
Coming to HBO
Yeah.
Family.
They also have custard and concretes. A concrete is a custard with like all the stuff blended into
Oh,
it
I
like
know
a
what
McFlurry.
that is.
Yeah. So like on July 4th weekend, Denise and I were dog sitting, as you do. And we were at this couple's house, and Shake Shack, we found out, was in LA, and it was only a few miles away. So I went, and I eat meat again now.
Yay.
Not often, not all the time, but like
Meet Lieberman.
fuck it. I'm
No.
sorry. It's really good. I'm not gonna eat turkey though, because
You have a membership to the Gentle Barn.
I know, and I made friends with a turkey there,
Wait,
so I'm not
if
gonna
I
eat
eat
turkey.
Can
meat,
you?
if I eat meat, can I not go to the Gentle
No, you
Barn?
can go. You can absolutely cook.
but it's a betrayal.
Can I pick out what I would like at the like?
No.
Just can I call dibs? Okay.
No,
They don't even really want you wearing like leather. Or
Yeah, those
anything
animals
there.
have been through a hard life.
Oh man,
but
what
Sam, you
jackass
ha-
goes in leather?
Oh,
to the Gentle
butthole.
Barn.
You would be surprised. There are a lot of assholes there.
Yeah.
But Sam, you haven't lived until you've given a turkey a massage.
Yeah,
Or
you
at
said
least
that a
cuddled
lot.
it.
What do you mean by massage? What part are you
I love
massaging?
it.
The
So
wing?
under- no,
Under the
underneath.
wings. Under the wings. That's where they like to be massaged. That's where they like to be touched. And these turkeys, not only will they come up to you and they'll cuddle you, like they'll open their wings and they'll cuddle you, but you can reach under the wings and give them a massage, and they'll be so cozy that their head will just droop until it falls on your hand.
They
and
rest the nutsack
fall
on your
asleep.
arm.
I mean, yeah, you could call it a
they're
nutsack.
so
Yeah,
cute.
turkeys are
They're
incredible.
so cute.
I
and
love
sweet.
turkeys.
I got really high with a goat.
Oh
Nice.
shit! Yeah.
Yeah.
Their goats are chill as fuck.
Wait, do they
Yeah.
have pigs?
Yeah, they got
Yeah.
pigs. They
Biscuit.
They got big pigs. Biscuits, 10 years old, big pig, or they got pot bellies, little pot belly pigs.
That's the ones I want. Somebody, when I was a kid, we had like club soccer, and I went for my little brother, and it was like it was really cold out, so I was like, I had this big park on. I put my legs inside of and was like huddling and then somebody, I thought they brought their dog and like it was kind of like coming up and sniffing me. I'm like, that dog sounds weird. And I looked and it was a pig and they had a pig on like a leash and everything. And it was like, oh, cool. And then I opened up my jacket and it went inside and sat and looked at me right in front of me and just, we stared at each other for hours. I didn't care what was happening with the soccer team. It was
perfect.
It was so cute and so warm and soft, and I would just play with it. And then I asked for one, and then my parents showed me a picture of what happens when a pig grows up and gets like to full size, and I'm like, oh.
No, get a potbelly. They stay small.
Oh, I didn't really go too far into it when I was a kid. I didn't do my research on pet pigs.
Oh man, with the potbellies, you can crawl right into their little houses and hang out with them while they sleep.
They're so cute.
They're really cute. But the Gentle Barn's only open for the public from 10 to 2 p.m. On Sundays. That's
oh, okay. Is there like a long line? Is that for?
Not really. Valentine's Day was shockingly crowded.
That's cute. That's a fun little thing.
Date.
So he was really excited about Shake Shack and the McDonald's land inhabitants. What's something that gets you to that level of excitement? Actually, I would like to know that because I like, when you go on dates and you finally find the thing that the person's really passionate about, and like it's not like too weird, but like you can like let them run with it and talk about it like.
And you see them at their best self, kind of. It's like that's when they're most beautiful or most handsome, is like when they're talking about something they love.
Mm-hmm.
That's like me and Amoeba Records.
Really?
Because it's like you have your records, your CDs, your movies. You got like whole Criterion. Everything's like sorted by director. So obviously I'm like up in the movies. Like, let me run you through Criterion. Okay.
Eraserhead.
It's my shit.
Ooh,
it's do you like David
Nah,
Lynch?
I just know that is one of the movies.
It is one of them.
that's one of the
Good
big
job,
pluses of getting Hulu Plus is they have the whole Criterion collection.
They do.
I don't think they have the whole collection.
Yeah, they're missing like 30% of it. Like a lot of the good ones.
There's thousands of movies in Criterion.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Did Groundhog Day get added to that?
No.
I don't think so.
No Groundhog Day.
When do you think Groundhog Day will be in that? I know it was added to the Library of Congress, and that's the one I got confused.
It should be added someday.
It should be.
Yeah.
That's a great movie.
I don't know, but is that the thing that like you get passionate about that you could talk about for hours?
Yeah, like obscure movies.
Yeah. What was the one we watched? It was when like we were living with Steve and you guys were watching some like Danish or German movie where like they were cutting open people's backs and the people like died and drowned and then they became fairies. You know what I'm talking about?
That was a movie that Steve showed me. I don't remember the name.
Oh, I thought that was
Is that
yours.
the City of Lost Children?
No, it's some German thing that I could not follow for the life of me.
No, that's a French movie.
I don't know. I couldn't tell you. But guys, let me know your favorite foreign
are you talking
films.
about? You're talking about Borgman.
Borgman. There it is. Yeah.
Borgman.
What is Borgman?
Yeah,
It's fairies, right, or something?
Well, it's like kind of like it's a little bit like Rumpelstiltskin.
Oh yeah.
It's like a modern day fairy tale.
Cool.
It's of like a man who shows up at a door and he's like this magical man and he's sort of like he asked for shelter and so the family lets him in, but then weird things start happening and like he keeps like manipulating the mother like through her dreams and it's very crazy.
Yeah,
weird.
that's what it
and
was.
the kids like start to get crazy.
Like, does someone's skin get like peeled off like a banana?
Yeah.
Something like that. Something like
Yeah.
that. That's what really stuck with me because I only like would walk into movies in like sections and see it. Like one movie. Steve has so many weird movies. He's got so many weird movies. But
we definitely bond over weird movies a lot.
Yeah. What was that one we watched about the Chuck E. Cheese knockoff that had the thing?
Oh my gosh.
You know the Chuck E. Cheese
I know what you're
knockoff?
talking about.
Rocket Fire Explosion. That's
Yes.
the
Oh
one.
yeah, the
Yeah.
documentary.
That's the one.
Yeah.
What's the weirdest documentary you guys have watched?
Ooh. I haven't watched it, but there's that one documentary I saw a trailer for about there's this museum of penises. It's like every single species of animal or creature, there is a penis, a like preserved penis of it in this museum.
Thank God.
And the one thing that they don't have is a human penis. And it's about this guy who's aggressively campaigning to have his penis be the official human penis in the Museum of Penises when he dies. He wants to be the guy, and it's all about that dude. Like that to me is like maybe the weirdest that I've ever heard of. I don't know if it's I'm trying to think of a weird one. Especially one that I especially liked that I saw in the last year was Searching for General Tso.
What's that one?
It's all about the origin of General Tso's chicken and effectively the origins of Chinese food in America. And it's actually really freaking cool. Because American Chinese food isn't real Chinese food. Over time, Chinese Americans, after they got basically kicked out of almost every other kind of job between 1900 and 1930, they started opening restaurants and serving food because it was like the one thing that they could do. And it started with chop suey, which was like the one kind of like fake Asian dish that they would serve. And over time, they discovered what Americans liked, and they liked fried chicken, like dark meat chicken, in some kind of sweet and tangy sauce. And as Chinese immigrants would come over to America, there were these like organizations, like almost like neighborhood Chinese organizations that would teach new immigrants the kinds of foods, the kinds of names, the kinds of menus, ingredients, whatever, that they needed to open a successful Chinese restaurant. And then these people would leave whatever city that they had entered the country from and move to like middle America and open a Chinese restaurant.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
That's why almost all of them have the same dishes.
Huh. I watched a commercial for one. Steve told us about a really weird one. That tickling one.
Tickled.
Yeah.
That one looks so cool.
That was for a video that could possibly go up. So we'll just talk about it now. It doesn't matter. But it's about this like tickling ring.
Yeah.
That's a weird way of describing it. Steve did a much better way of
It's
describing
like
it.
this-
Underground tickling ring.
Have you
Yeah.
heard of it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you seen the...
I saw the trailer for it.
Oh, you saw the trailer. What did you
Yeah.
think? Does it look interesting, or does it look
looks
just...
creepy
It looks
and
interesting.
cool.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, not your thing?
I don't know. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, I love me a good documentary.
Yeah.
There's so many movies that I want to see right now that I'm
Mm-hmm.
just like, I'm putting that on hold. Just 'cause
All
there's so
documentaries.
Documentaries.
Or just
no,
tickling.
just tickled.
Just tickled.
Just tickled.
There's there is a classic documentary that if you guys haven't seen, you need to see. It's called Marwen Call. Marwencol, and it's about this guy who built a replica of his hometown inside his house.
Why?
And it's been like referenced on like multiple sitcoms. Like Raising Hope had a Marwen Call episode, and Cougar Town had a Marwen Call episode.
Marwen or Marwan?
Marwen.
Oh, I got so excited. I thought you were going to talk about the villain from 24, Habib Marwan.
No.
I almost named my dog Marwan.
Beirut. That's the one reference from 24 that I remember, season 4. Anyway, he builds a model of his hometown complete with all the people inside of his house. And rather than go out and talk to real people, he imagines what their lives must be like and has built up this kind of like narrative of who these people are inside of his home.
All
What if
of the
that
people...
is Tickled? What if they're both the same documentary?
It's
and you're talking
exactly
about-
the same documentary.
Okay. Exactly the
Underneath
same.
the replica, the whole replica is actually just an elaborate trapdoor, and underneath is where they tickle the people.
Oops.
There's a documentary I think it's called Teenager or Teenage, and it's about how teenagers came to be a thing.
What is that?
Have you ever think about it?
Oh, that's so
Was
cool.
there ever a separation between children working and just being grown-ups?
Oh, yeah.
So it explores like how teenagers came to be and how we fought for it. We rebelled. Our rebellion, teenage rebellion, is why we don't have to work as children anymore.
Wow.
Weird.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy.
Is
It's
it
a
good? Have you
documentary.
seen it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's really good.
That's pretty
Cool.
good. I mean, I always like a good Planet Earth. I like my animals. I also like the behind the scenes when you watch it, because then it like shows the kind of like, it's how they have to construct a narrative around what they are shooting in
Yeah.
nature, because there isn't anything whatsoever, and they just have to sit there. And also, when I was a kid and I found out that they don't take sound equipment out there and they don't record the animals and everything's added in post, I was a little disappointed and I was a little sad, because I
did not know that, and I am a little disappointed.
yeah,
and
most
sad.
of them, at least the old ones, like older documentaries, they definitely didn't take sound equipment out into the rainforest, and they just took a camera and they filmed it for like 7 months, and then they went back and made some kind of narrative out of it. But we were talking before this is changing gears a little bit, but to something else that I love is comics. If you guys didn't know, it's not a problem. People don't like it when I talk about it for too long, but there is one
Why?
because you get trapped on like loops, and I start talking about it
Yeah.
for a while, and then you gotta stop
Sam,
yourself
it's what's
and come
you're
out of it.
passionate about. It's when you're at your
Yeah.
most beautiful.
That's when you find that if you're on a date and then she wants to hear you talk about it for at least a little bit, then keep her. There you go. If you guys want dating advice, that's the best I can do.
Sam Basher.
There you go. You can quote me. But I wanted to talk about for a second Why the Last Man, because people are tweeting me. I recommended it on a podcast that I do, Only Stupid Answers. Go check it out, iTunes, SoundCloud. But we talked about Why the Last Man because I was so freaking obsessed with it. I started it on a Friday, and it was the week of VidCon, and I finished it the Saturday at
Yeah,
VidCon.
I was handing in my room key, and you were literally on the last page, so you would not talk to me.
No, I was like, no, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
I have to finish
But
this.
we want to talk about it because we think you, Bree, would really enjoy it.
Okay.
And I know you're not a comics person, but
Quick premise.
yeah, quick premise.
The comic starts 30 minutes before the end of the world. And it's showing different stories of people all over the planet. And you're not really, if you don't know the premise of the comic already, that makes it more fun. But it mainly focuses on a boy named Yorick. He's around 22, and a monkey that he's training to be a helper animal named Ampersand. He's ampersand, like the little sign. And then all of a sudden, for some reason, at the exact same moment, all men on the planet die. And not just human men, males, as in like
every species, all men on the planet die except this guy and his monkey.
It is one of the most haunting scenes I've ever read because it's like you see like people are holding like their dead sons or like their husbands and
happened?
stuff. That's the point of the comic. You got to find out.
You have to find out why all the men are dead. So
Why is he alive?
Why, and also his
we're not
monkey.
going to spoil it, and also his monkey. But so here's the thing. Now he has to survive kind of like hiding himself because if women find out that he's alive, God knows what could happen to him. But at the same time, women are rebuilding the planet and making it a much better place than it ever was before.
Some people are.
Some people.
Some people are, and some people aren't.
Oh,
Yeah.
some girls are out for blood.
Well, that's the thing.
Oh, the Amazons.
Oh yeah,
The
no,
Amazons.
some of them are really, really bad. But then also like there's some awesome heroines. But
There's
then
some Regina Georges in that jungle.
oh, you better believe.
I just did like 3 references at the same time.
But also like one of my favorite
Regina
things.
George of the jungle.
That's pretty good.
One of my favorite things in the first volume of it, in the first trade paperback, is the Secretary of Education in the U.S. becomes president. She's the 17th in line to become president because all the other people above her were men.
And they're all dead.
And so she's like completely unprepared for this position, but has to take it on at a time of incredible crisis. And it's like, it's really neat. And the characters are awesome. And there's like great action and intrigue. And it's just really cool.
One of my favorite scenes is that Yorick is traveling from New York to Washington because his mom is a congresswoman and is trying to find her, and nobody knows that he's alive. Like nobody. He's doing a very good job of hiding it, but somebody assaults the White House, and this is the only thing I'll go into the story, and I can stop from there. But they're like, "Who's firing at us?" And it's the Republicans, and they look out, and it's just women holding shotguns because they feel that they should take the place of their husbands in the Senate and in Congress and even in the cabinet because there's nobody else to take it. And then it becomes like a dialogue of, is that democracy or not? And like, it's such a good commentary, and it's one of my favorite. It's the only time I've read a book where I can see the arc of somebody. I can see it takes a place over 6 years, like this entire thing. And it's and so like it jumps around a little bit, but you can see Yorick being this immature man and becoming, or immature boy and turning into a man at the end of it. The last man on
cool.
earth.
A man
Like,
who
sounds-
deserves your respect. Yeah.
That sounds as good as The Leftovers.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
real
It's really good. And they find ways to.
Zach just finished it. I gave him my login for it, and he just finished reading it.
Yeah, they find ways to do commentary on like every facet of life and society and civilization. And it's just really, really, really neat. Yeah, Brian K. Vaughan, who also wrote for Lost for I think a
He
season or
did?
two. He wrote in the 3rd season and I think the 4th season too.
No way. That's so cool. He's an amazing writer. He's doing Saga right now. Every
His
comic.
saga
Yeah.
is so good.
Uh-huh.
And Ex Machina is another comic book
Yeah.
of his, and it's about what if the mayor of New York City was a superhero. And like a superhero who became famous for saving people during 9/11. And it's like a lot of commentary on like the war on terror and power and responsibility. It's just like really neat stuff.
Also, in Why the Last Man, that he writes down the statistics of what happens in 2002 if all men died. What would happen to jobs, religions, governments, like or militaries, like. Israel's military like pulls it back together because they were allowing women at the time to be in their military, but
my
U.S.
God.
is
It's
trash.
garbage.
It's
Yeah.
garbage.
Yeah.
But anyways, not to go too far into it, I can't recommend it enough. Hopefully that's not interesting to you because it's one of my. It probably is my favorite comic series that
Of
I've
all
ever
time.
read. It is
Yep.
so good.
Sounds great.
And it ended. It ended. I like the ending, and it's
Some
it's
people
nice
are
and
divided. I
clean
like
and
it.
concise. Yeah,
Yeah.
I liked it. It's pretty good.
Are
worth
there
reading.
answers?
Yeah.
There are. It depends if you're happy with them.
Yeah, I think what they do is they offer multiple answers, and it's up to you to decide which one you believe to be the truth.
Gotcha.
Like they give you enough healthy skepticism on all of them that it's really up to you. Yeah, it's been a while since I
Does
read
this
it.
dude fuck a lot?
No, because
he's
when
he's in
I
love.
don't know if
When
I
the
like
world
it.
ends, when all the men are dying, he's in the middle of proposing to his girlfriend who's on the other side of the world in Australia, and he's trying to save himself for her. He wants to be with her.
Yeah.
But you might be interested in this. The sex worker like population has kind of exploded in this world because women are now like getting surgeries or makeup and like, you know, cutting their hair and everything to look like men to be companions for women.
Wow.
Because there's a huge industry now for just like male companionship.
I mean, strap-ons, yeah.
Yeah.
it's one of the coolest takes on a post-apocalyptic story, because it is an apocalypse because they lost at the time 4 billion, 2 billion, something like that, people
Yeah.
at once. And so like, and they deal with
Planes went down,
Yeah.
like all the kinds of destruction. It's really cool. And they were trying to make it a movie for a while.
the director of Disturbia was going to do
DJ
it.
Caruso.
Yeah, and he wanted Shia LaBeouf to be Yorick. And
Yeah.
I was like
Oh,
that. And if you read the comic, you're like, I can see Shia
I can
LaBeouf.
see why
Yeah.
they would do that. Now, honestly, it's like it should be like a limited run series on FX or HBO, like a 3-season show.
Netflix could do a good job.
Yeah. Netflix could do a
yeah.
good job
I'm
too.
gonna
Yeah.
audition for that show.
Oh man,
Seriously.
it has the best written women I've ever read.
And like the badass action protagonist is an African American woman, and she's
so
the
good.
best.
Yeah, she's so good. And her name, she doesn't
have a name.
she doesn't have a name.
Oh, that's so sad ass. Bringing it back.
Then I'm bringing it
Bringing
back.
it back.
But yeah, that was a really man. I gotta control myself. I gotta find a new hobby. What's another hobby I should do? Woodworking.
Yeah.
People like woodworking.
I like building things, making things.
Yeah.
Like we spend a lot of our time making videos, but like making something with your hands is so different.
Did you guys do that as a kid? Kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What'd
like
you guys build?
Legos and stuff.
I
Oh, did
carved
you-
soap.
You carved soap?
Really?
And
Like
chalk.
a prisoner?
Yeah, I carved little people into soap and
Mm-hmm.
chalk and painted and drew and sewed and
That's
Little
awesome.
kid.
Look at you.
I would do. I mean, I always, if we ever had IKEA furniture come in, I'd always be the one be like, yeah, I want to build it. Like that, I'm like that loser. They
That's
would
me
do
now.
That.
For me, a great day is building IKEA furniture, and part of me is like, I want people to just hire me to build their furniture.
That's
I
a
would
thing.
just go.
One of the most
Yeah.
satisfying things is putting together your bed and then putting your mattress on it and laying down because you're like, I built this. And
yeah,
it's so
but it's so
comfortable.
hard. A bed is the hardest thing to do alone.
It is. If
Yeah.
you put like shelves and shit underneath it, like I just do like the plain like ding ding 4 posts and then like a back thing for like to lean your head against. It takes me like maybe like 20 minutes. I can put that together.
Damn.
Yeah, like
My
that.
bed frame is messed up because I've moved a lot since I came out here. I've been out here 6+ years, something like that. I think 3 moves ago, I was confused about how my bed frame came apart, and I really, really bent it by like banging it against something. And now every time that I break it down and put it back together, it gets harder to do.
When we moved, we were in a second story and we did not want to take our mattresses down the damn stairs because the first time I did, and I never told my roommates this, actually I'll tell you guys now, I broke the lamp that is, if you're going up staircases, there's lamps attached to the wall, knocked it over, glass went everywhere and they were out. So I got my vacuum cleaner, and I was the only one with a vacuum cleaner, vacuumed it up and I switched it with another one and people were like, hey, what happened to that? I was like, well, I don't know.
It's
what
weird.
that is. I
Weird
don't know
how
what
that
is.
happened.
And I went to Home Depot a little while later, had the same model, bought it, put it back in there, didn't tell them.
Nice.
I may have told one of the roommates a little bit later, but we so did not want to take it down the stairs, and I'm like, I'm not gonna fucking fix that damn lamp again. So we took them out the window and we walked on the roof and we threw them off the roof. So it was
What?
so much fun. We were living in a house, so we weren't living in like
Yeah.
an apartment. So
I'm
yeah.
trying to remember because we've been there.
You put
Yeah.
your mattress through the window?
Bent it because I had a memory foam. It wasn't like a hard frame.
no
Yeah.
springs.
No springs. So you can just bend it, and we shoved it through, and we threw it off the roof. So satisfying, and it got so gross.
No
but, yeah.
springs on me, Ultron.
It was real
If
fun.
he was a bed.
Do you guys have any crazy moving stories?
Oh, crazy moving stories.
Or dating stories?
I can
well,
tell you a crazy story
yeah.
that involves moving. I moved a lot as a child. That's the story.
Damn.
Good story, Bree.
I moved,
Tell
I'd
it again.
say, how many places did I live? I went to, I think, 11 different schools.
Wow.
Why
Yeah.
did
we
you
moved
do
a
that?
lot. We moved a lot.
That was
And
kind
it
of
was all in the same
year.
area too.
Oh.
It was weird. Like all around LA
Mhm.
and then San Diego. And then I went to boarding school. So
Right.
San Diego seems pretty. I like San Diego.
And like
it's
chillax.
pretty.
Mhm.
It's so boring.
It probably is.
If you're under 21, there's really nothing. I mean, I guess if you surf or skate, you're good. But
Yeah.
other than that, there's really nothing there.
Man, Disney Channel original movies really hyped up skating and BMX and all those obscure
Brink.
sports.
Take it to the brink.
Those are defining moments for those children. Like they were able to become cool kids if they learned how to snowboard properly in their
Yeah.
ski
Yeah,
town.
totally. Can I tell a
Yes.
moving story?
Of course.
So I was living with a friend, and our place like had a terrible roach problem, and he didn't really care, and that bothered me. And I didn't like. I love my friend Mike. I love him, but this is something that we just couldn't agree on.
I'm gonna tell. I'm gonna tell him you said.
Don't
you
do
told
that, please don't.
Mike Falzone.
No, it's not Mike Falzone. Yeah, so I was trying to move to a new place, and I found this apartment that these girls were living in Hollywood, and they were looking for a roommate. And I was like, perfect, because the rent was like super cheap, and they had a big apartment, and it was super quiet, and it was great. And we chatted for a while, and we were laughing. It was like right when Lulu came out. Do you remember Lulu?
The app?
The dating app that
Yeah.
rates men.
That rates men.
Horrible app.
Horrible
That's
app.
so mean.
But it was
had
like
a high rating.
right when that came out, and I remember because I was like, please tell me my rating, please, please, please. And it was like an 8 point something. I was very pleased.
Out of 10?
Yeah, it's not bad.
Not bad.
Not bad. And we were like, great. You know what? You move in. This is gonna be perfect. I'm like, amazing, thank you. And it wasn't even like a whole room, because one of the girls would have to walk through my room to get to her room. So there was like a partition. So after I said, yes, I'll live here, I was like, I have some concerns. And I kind of like listed out, like, I've never lived with girls before. This is who I am and this is how I live, take it or leave it. And they were kind of like, yeah, whatever. It's cool. Everything's cool. I'm like, amazing. Thank you. I text them and be like, hey, I'm coming over there like 3 weeks later to get the key and start like, painting the room and move some of my stuff over. I'm really excited. And one of the girls was like, oh, you can't move in yet, even though I'd paid my deposit. And I was like, why not? It's like, well, my friend is staying in that room while she looks for a place. And I'm like, that's not right, because I already paid for the room. I go there. They've also adopted a cat, which I'm allergic to cats.
Oh, no.
And I had said that explicitly, like in our earlier conversations. And I was like, what's going on? And they're like, well, like one of them was just basically like, I was mad about this at the time and I'm not anymore. But she was like, look, I am who I am. And I'm going to do stuff without telling you beforehand. And that's just who I am. And, everyone else who's lived here has just kind of dealt with it. And that's, that's life. And I'm like, that's absurd. You can't do
Her
that.
Lulu rating would have been so low.
So low, but it's one-sided.
I know.
The ladies
See,
don't
it's
get
so
rated.
fucked.
It's not
and
like
and
that.
rightfully so. I don't think anyone should be rated.
No, it's probably a bad idea.
That's so fucked up.
Yeah, so it was now 3 days before my lease was up, and I had nowhere to live because I was like, I can't deal with this. It's like, well, then you shouldn't live here. I'm like, well, shit. So I spent all of my savings putting all of my shit into storage, and thankfully I had a friend who let me stay in her place for 2 weeks while she was teaching at a summer camp, and I ultimately found a new place that was also infested with roaches. It was not a good year. That was that was the year that I got SourceFed. But I had like $2,000 in the bank, and by the end of that, it was all gone. And it was just like, you could have told me that this is how you are.
That's so shitty. Did you get your deposit back?
No.
How do you not get your deposit back?
She avoided it for a while, and eventually I was just like, fuck it, I'm done. We're cool now, though.
Oh,
No
you're friends
way.
with her?
We don't really like talk, but we're both in the comedy community, and like we both respect what the other does.
You
like,
should ask her
Like
for
when she
the
steals
deposit
money.
now.
for
Yeah.
the deposit. I don't even know if she remembers.
Oh, but I do, and I'll
Yeah.
go get it.
Yeah, we'll
I'll
go
go
get
get
it.
it. Yeah,
Yeah.
fuck, that's so fucking fuck.
The Adventures of Brisket and
Chuck
Short
and
Rib-
Brisket.
Chuck, you're Chuck, I'm Brisket,
And
we
I'm
have-
short rib.
If you guys please do fan art of that, I'd love that. Love when you guys do fan art. Man, that fucking sucks.
That does suck.
It was real lame. But that's that LA life.
Speaking of Lulu, that was a really not fun time when that came out. But I had like a pretty high score. Not to
What was your
brag.
high score?
I believe at a time when I saw it, it was in the 9s, and I was like,
Good boy.
nice. I believe a friend of mine did one. But then I went on a really bad date. Like a really bad date. Like I drove out to
Bad first date.
yeah, and and it was like she was bad. She was real bad. She
Just like a bad person, or
she,
just no chemistry.
I have never. Well, there's chemistry before. Like, we like met on like a dating app, and we were talking for a while. It was a couple years ago, and we were talking, and I thought it was gonna be great. Met her. I've never heard someone complain that much in my entire life about everything, about what I was
Wow.
wearing, about the car I was driving. Like, I had like everything, like where we were eating, what I was choosing to eat. Like, I was like. The atmosphere of the restaurant, all the people there. Like, then we went to a movie, even though I was like, I gave her some options, and she was like, oh, this one. I was like, cool, I want to see that one. We went. She said that I wasn't making like enough decisions. Like, I was like, she didn't like the movie. She had like talked during the entire thing. Then she complained that I didn't give her a kiss when we left, and I was like, what the fuck?
This sounds like a nightmare.
It was
person.
the worst evening I've ever had. And then I went back and my score dropped to like a 7 because of that, because she wrote so many negative. I mean, you can't see who wrote it, but
Right,
like
but you
that
knew.
appeared immediately after. And I was like, wow.
Ladies, if
Yeah.
you're gonna
No.
complain about a dude, just do it the old-fashioned way. Just talk shit about him to your girlfriends.
That's what everybody does.
Yeah.
And it's healthier. It's
much
healthier.
healthier.
Less permanent too. Jeez. Does anyone
hurtful.
use Lulu anymore?
I don't
I
know.
hope not.
Yeah. That was not a fun app.
Yeah.
Rating people is not a fun thing to do.
No.
Eh.
That's like Hot or Not, or like that other shit that Facebook,
Oh yeah.
that when Facebook started, that site that was going around.
Face match or whatever.
Yeah. I think it's Hot or
Yeah.
Not. Yeah. Hot or Not sounds about right. That was the thing that Mark Zuckerberg made.
No,
Yep.
Face Match was the thing that he made. He was if Hot or Not was already around.
Oh,
Face
okay.
Match was with people that you already knew from your from like your college.
Gotcha.
That sucks.
Yeah.
That's a shitty thing to invent. But hi, Mark.
So is that your worst first date? You think?
That is, yes. One, and to balance it out, 2 of the best dates I've ever been on. One was a blind date, and if I've never done like a blind date. Have you guys ever done blind dates before?
Yeah.
One. Okay, mine turned out really nice. Like, it was
Actually, yeah.
really, really fun. We ended up, and it's the only time I've ever had a mutual breakup where we were both like, well, breakup. We just were like, hey, we're not going to see each other more because like she lived very far away, and we texted each other at the same time. It was like, hey,
Yeah.
and like, I'll let you go first. And she started talking. It's like, oh my god, this is great. I was going to actually text you the same thing. And she's like, really? Yeah. And we still keep in touch, and we still talk
That's
and everything.
great.
Aw, that's
And the other
nice.
one was a date where. I drove to her house. We started talking. We were gonna go out and get like food and drinks and stuff. But she was like, "I'm not feeling really well. Do you think like we could like do something else?" I'm like, "Sure." And she was like, "Do you want to grab tea and just hang out?" And I was like, "Sure." And
That
we went
sounds
and
amazing.
We got tea, and then we went to a park, and it was at night, so it was like a little creepy at first, but then it got like really nice because for 3 hours. We had constant conversation on the swing set, and then we went on a walk. We went back to her place, and we talked more. And then like we realized it was like 4 a.m, and I was like, "Oh shit, I gotta go home." So I went home. But yeah, really good.
God, I miss dry humping at the park.
Dry
It's
humping
like
at the
a
park.
high school pastime
Dry humping at the park.
with that Trident fruit flavored gum.
Oh, is that layers?
Memories.
Yeah.
No,
No,
layers.
not the layers. The
They
regular
didn't
one.
have those at the time. The orange
It was like that
ones, you know.
tropical.
Oh, tropical.
Trading dry humps for layers. What would you do for trading layers?
Dry humps for you layers.
Dry humps and hand jobs.
Mine favorite is trying to make out and dry hump in the back of a car. And
Yeah.
no car for tall people fits. No car fits people. It's
No.
never fun to make out or to do stuff in a car. What were you going to
Nope.
say? You had a blind date story. Or
well,
worst date.
No, well, do you want
Or both.
which one do you want? Do you want blind date, worst date, or best date?
Let's go with worst date.
Worst date. Okay. All right. So I went on a date with a girl in Boston when I was in college. I think I met her on J-Date.
Nice.
I'm pretty sure. And we went to this like nice restaurant. I had picked out like a nice restaurant because I wanted to impress her. And she was pretty much like silent almost the whole night. and was just like really nervous. Like legitimately nothing wrong with the person. It was just kind of like a bad date. Like there was nothing to talk about. I kept trying to ask her questions and she wouldn't really answer them.
Damn.
You know, like dessert came and I was kind of like done, but she asked me, you know, like to walk her home. I'm like, okay, cool. Yeah, sure. And I walk her like a couple miles back to her place and we sit down on the front porch and we kiss for a while. And this is like back when I was in college, I was not in a position to turn down kisses, even if I wasn't interested really in the person, like, which isn't like a great thing, but I didn't have really high self-esteem at the time. So I just kind of went with it. And I was like really pleased to be getting female attention from someone who thought I was cute. And yeah, like I don't want to get into the other stuff. Like we went inside and it was just really awkward and weird, and I don't want to talk about that.
That's fine. You don't need to, but that doesn't sound like a very fun.
I don't want to besmirch
Yeah.
this person, but yeah, it was kind of like a lousy, very long evening, and she lived in the middle of nowhere, so I had to walk like 3.5 miles home. You know,
Wow.
That's no fun.
it's not fun.
But-
I wasn't gonna take a taxi. I didn't have that money.
Do you have a bad date story?
I don't know.
Bad
It's
date.
hard to think back into my past
Mm-hmm.
and all the dates I've been on.
Oh, bragging
Just-
about all your dates now.
It's so easy to go on a date, a first date.
Oh,
It's hard to find somebody that you actually like. That's the
Yeah.
hard part. That's why
Okay.
people are single. It's so easy to go on a first date with anybody.
First dates, like once you like learn how to do it, are really fucking fun.
Oh yeah,
Really?
I love
I
first
think
dates.
so. I
think they're
First dates are
exhausting.
so much
They
fun.
are exhausting. Say why?
You have to just be like the perfect person, and you can't be boring, and you have to be like exciting and all of these things. There's so much expectations, and like when you're a dater, you have to just keep telling the same stories over and over about yourself, and like having to explain yourself like it's a job interview.
See, I like it because I feel like in the eyes of this person who doesn't know me, I am the best version of myself that I've ever been. I've like I'm probably cleaned myself up because I want to be impressive for this first date. I'm dressed really well. I'm taking them somewhere. I've picked the place and you know it's good. And like I'm asking them questions and I'm genuinely interested in their life. And also
You're a good dater.
there's no real, like there's that pressure of like, what if this is the person? But like probably they aren't. So as long as you're not being rude or being an asshole, you can really ask someone why they feel the way they feel about anything on a first date because it's all relevant. So it's just like I get 3 hours, 2 to 3 hours, where I get to really try to understand the base essence of a person, or at least what they're willing to tell me over the course of that. Like, get them to let their guard down, talk to me, and we can have a real conversation. And there's something really, really cool about that I feel like you just don't get in most experiences.
No, I agree. I really like first dates. I've always had, I mean, I used to be very awkward, but now it's like if I go on one, it's a blast. I always will have fun, but also I have the luxury of having social media or text messages and like phone calls where you can get to know the person before you go. There's still a pressure when you go on your first date, and you do feel like nervous, but I use those nerves to be extra goofy because that's kind of my little thing. It's like to be goofy and have fun. Always fun to go to a restaurant where you can draw on the tables. Then you can have jokes and you can draw stuff and you can see if they're an artist. Mostly don't go to a restaurant where you can draw on the tables, kids, if you have to actually go on a real adult date. But if you want to go on a kid date like mine, those are really fun places to go.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember there was someone I used to date who every time we would set up like a date, we would both get there and then she'd be like, can we go somewhere else? And we would always like dispense with the pretense of having to go on like a real date and just go somewhere super casual and have fun. And that was always like really cool.
That's fun.
Yeah, like I feel like that rarely happens where someone is just sort of like, hey, does this have to be a date? Can we just like fucking hang out and like chill for a while?
I don't think I've ever, like, most of my first dates have been so casual. There was one guy once that was like, that took me on like a really fancy first date. And I was
Really?
like, and he like ordered for me and I didn't eat meat. And so he just like ordered a bunch of meat and I was just like, I didn't know what to say. Like, I was just like so
He's trying to show off.
overwhelmed. And he
trying to
like
be
ordered the
macho.
wine. I'm like, I like whiskey. Like,
Zach does that when we go to lunch.
Oh,
Yeah.
Zach orders the wine when you go to lunch.
Mm-hmm.
That's really sweet.
it was just too much. It was too intense. I didn't like it at all.
Yeah.
I don't know who I was talking to. They said they went on their first date and it was with somebody. and this dude had money, and he liked to say it a lot, like in his profile pictures, everything is like he's with a Maserati, or he's like got a Rolex, a brand new suit on. So they went skydiving for the first date, and she was like, he's boring as hell, but that was real fun. Like, and like she didn't know that's what was going to happen. It was a surprise. They're like, we're going to go do this. So showing up at an airfield probably would be very terrifying on a first date. It must be early in the morning too, but that'd be kind of fun.
I dated a guy who was pretty boring, but he was a lot of fun at the same time.
Yeah.
How is that?
Boring personality, but liked to do fun things.
Okay.
fun.
Like really fun things.
Yeah.
So we had some
Scuba
good
diving.
times together. Yeah, like we went on vacation together. Like we had some fun times, but he was just like,
Boring.
yeah.
Yeah. Can I ask a question regarding that date that you had where he ordered all the stuff for you?
Yeah.
I've heard it both ways, that it's sexist but also kind of sexy.
Well, just ask.
Not to order
All
for
you, have to, all you have to do is say, hey, do you like? I've been here before. I know it's
Yeah.
good. Would you like me to order for us?
Right. Like, is that a good thing or a bad thing? Because like sometimes when like Denise and I go out, she'll say what she's having. I'll be like, the lady will be having. Maybe I won't say the lady will be having because that's like super old fashioned. But she's gonna have
It's
this and this
cute.
and this.
But you
I'm
also
gonna have
know
this and
her
some of this
so
for the
well.
table.
Like, you
yeah.
guys are together,
But like,
have
well,
been.
it's like she'll tell me what she wants first.
Yeah, that's fine.
You know.
I just think like it also goes the other way where a woman could be like, I don't know, just order for me, like surprise me or something.
Okay.
I think just
That's
it's a
terrifying.
lot of pressure.
Just order for me. Don't worry, I got you.
It is, but don't order for someone ever.
Double
unless they say
with a milkshake.
Yeah,
That's
just
my
like,
first date.
I had to like eat around the meat and like. He was like, you don't like it? And I was like, oh, I don't eat meat. And
The
he was
phrase,
like, oh,
"eat
you
around
should
the
have
meat's
said
really
something. I'm
fun.
like, before or after you ordered it. I didn't know that was a thing that was happening. So,
Yeah.
Eat
yeah.
around the meat.
Eat around the meat.
Eat around the meat.
I'm sorry.
Listen, let's not eat around the meat here, okay?
I
Let's
don't
get
ever
down
want
to
to eat around
brass
the meat.
tacks.
Yeah.
Let's not eat around the meat. Let's get down to brass tacks. I don't eat meat.
Damn.
Exactly.
Yeah.
What's the coolest thing I could do on a date? I'm asking for advice.
Coolest thing you could do on a date. Oof, there are a lot of
Can I
good
try
ideas.
to slide on the hood of my car to go pick her up?
No, don't do that.
Rent a motorcycle
Okay.
and then take your helmet off and give it to her and then ride helmetless.
Really quick. I sweat profusely. So if I take off my helmet, she's going to have the
Just
sweats
don't
rubbing
even
down
wear
her
the
face.
helmet. Just have one ready for her.
Oh, good
Yeah.
call.
Yeah.
I don't wear mine so you can see the locks in my widow's peak blowing in the wind.
Yeah. I mean, that's a good call. I would say, like,
Gauge her interest.
Gauge her
find out what
interest,
she's
yeah.
into.
Gauge her
and
ears?
her
Interest.
interests.
Oh.
Yeah.
If she's into piercings and gauges, go to a tattoo shop, obviously.
Obviously.
But gauge her interests, find out what she likes, and then plan the date according to
Yeah,
that.
I would say that there's like, it's a mixture of like spontaneity and planning, which sounds like an oxymoron, but it's just sort of like, it's knowing the area that you're going to and having options no matter what. Like, you know what? Like, I'm going to pick out like a great restaurant for us to go to. Then let's go for a walk. You know what? Let's go to this psychic that's open and do that.
Damn,
like,
I
it's
want to
just-
go to a psychic so fucking bad.
It's that ease of like, you know what? I'm just focused on us having a good time. I don't really care where it comes from as long as I'm with you, which is damn cool. And just ask lots of questions. People love fucking talking about themselves, but the easiest way to get someone to like you or understand you or want to talk to you is ask them about their life.
Do people like the everyday man? Like could have fun, but he's also, he could lay back and have fun. Like if I took her to McDonald's, but then we went to Six Flags.
Yeah.
Is
that
that
sounds
fun?
fun.
There are definitely people who would like that. It's
There are
not my style.
I would not want McDonald's
Yeah.
necessarily, but Six Flags sounds fun as hell.
Is it the smell? Is
Yeah.
it the McDonald's
I think
stench?
so.
I mean, like second date tip, like some people get like a little weird about coming to your place on a second date, but like second date tip, cook. Cook, baby, cook.
Not
should
gonna
cook for
lie, a
somebody.
dude who cooks, that's like one of the hottest things you can do
Okay.
on
so-
a date is
Wait,
to cook for somebody.
There was a girl-
I haven't had a guy cook for me in a long time.
There was a girl I was
Years.
dating who I found out from my friends later on was ready to break up with me, was going to break up with me. And then I cooked her a pot roasted chicken with tarragon gravy, and she changed her mind and denied it.
That's
That
amazing.
is fucked up.
How long did you stay together after that?
Oh, not long. I won't get into it. It was not a good situation.
Okay.
Oh, okay,
She
but
tried-
your
yeah.
cooking saved.
For the time. No, she tried to convince me that my friends were trying to split us up because they had crushes on me, which is like weird grade school shit. That
Your
was
friends
not true. Or
did?
my friend.
Oh, your friend. Okay, yeah.
My friend and
still.
our mutual friend were trying to break the two of us up because my friend had a crush on me and couldn't deal with it.
Oh, that does make sense. That
Yeah,
sounds like a goddamn nightmare.
Yeah, it's just like middle school stuff.
Yeah.
Except for once I was involved with it and not other people. Look at that. You know, because that wasn't happening to me in middle school. No way.
Wait,
man.
What was one of your most awkward dates? I mean, the meat one is pretty. Eat around the meat.
Eat around the meat was pretty awkward. They were okay. I went on a date. I went on a date with this guy who was like a Jeopardy trivia champion.
Yes.
Wow, that's some. Okay,
I
what
love
happened?
this.
He was so nice, but he brought me to like this whiskey bar, Scotch bar.
Was it called Scotch Bar?
It was called Scotch Bar. No, it
course
was
it
just like super far away, and I was already running so late because it was like I honestly had forgotten. And he texted me, and he
Oh
was like,
no!
"Hey, where are you?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm sitting in traffic. I'm so sorry." And I like booked it from the valley all the way down to Culver.
Oops. Oh, no.
So I was like, "Hey, I'm so sorry. I'm late. I had to shoot." Blah blah blah. I made up an excuse. So I was already like, "Ugh, I fucked this up.
You're
This is
already
bad."
a piece of shit.
I felt so bad.
Yeah.
He had already ordered all this. It was like a Scotch tasting menu that he had ordered from. So it was like a bunch of different scotches.
You
like
better
at the
like
table.
Scotch. Do you like Scotch?
I don't really like Scotch. I
No.
like whiskey, but not Scotch. And so like I had to sit and try all these scotches, and he was telling me about how he's been on Jeopardy so many times, and I was like, "That's cool. Like that's exciting and
Was it
interesting." I've
Ken
never
Jennings?
met. No, I had never met anybody quite like that. But
Yeah.
it was like
Alex
the other
Trebek.
guy where he was just very boring.
Right.
Like he was so sweet but very boring. But then at the end of the date, like he was like walking me in my car, and he like tried to hold my hand there, and I was like, "Ooh, this is not happening." But I felt so bad about being late. See, this is my fault now. I held his hand, and I was like, "This is fun." And he's like on our second date, and he starts telling me all the things that are going to happen on the second date, and then he like kisses me, and it was so awkward.
My legs are getting weird. I don't like this.
It was he like pinned me up against somebody else's van.
Oh.
Are you sure it was someone else?
It could have been his van. Fair point. I never thought of that. He pinned me up
man.
against somebody else's van and was like kissing me really hard, and I was like, I have to go.
Hard that your teeth are like rubbing together.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
It was bad, you guys. And I still felt so bad for keeping him late, for being late, that I was just like, you know what? I'm gonna let him have this, and I'm just never gonna talk to him again.
Good call.
And that's what happened.
Fair enough.
Yikes.
You have a most awkward date, Sam, like that?
Most awkward? Definitely the complaining was up there, but most awkward was the first time I ever actually asked somebody out, and this is when I'm very, very, very young, and I didn't know that when you ask somebody out, that doesn't mean they're your girlfriend after. And so
There's some confusion about that.
yeah, so I took her to see. I now pronounce you Chuck and Larry.
Very
Great,
romantic
very,
film.
very. But also, that's the whole date was going to see the movie, and also I'm young. I'm very young. So I was like, after that, I was like, yeah, we're dating. After, and then she said, no, we're not, and then I was heartbreaking. So, but also sitting in a movie theater, not knowing what to do, and trying to come up with jokes in between the trailers and Chuck and Larry, and then leaving, and you're too young to take her home, so she drove herself home, and I waited for my parents to come pick me up. Oh man, I got cold sweats thinking about that.
Do you remember the first time you
cold
made out
sweats.
during a movie?
Yes.
Yes.
What was the movie?
Bringing down the house.
Oh!
Really?
Wait, with Steve Martin and Queen Latifah?
That movie's great. Is that the one where he has that titanium phone and it saves his life?
Yes.
What?
Yes,
I haven't
think it
seen
was.
this
I think it
movie.
was,
I have not
yeah.
seen
There's
it.
only
my
one
God.
Steve Martin Queen Latifah movie. Never mind.
Yeah.
His name was
Unfortunately.
Drake. His name was Drake.
Wow.
We were in 7th grade, and we had been dating for
Drake.
a week.
Nice.
And yeah, we were in that fucking movie theater, and we were making out. It was my first time really like making out. I mean, I
Nice.
did with my first boyfriend, but I thought I had mono. It was a bad situation. I freaked
Oh,
out.
man.
Uh-huh. Oops.
The first time, the first time I made out with my first real girlfriend, like it was just a mess. It was we both had closed our eyes and were like slowly approaching each other. We were outside of a closed ice cream shop, waiting for her dad to come pick us up, and we both kind of like moved towards each other in just like a weird conflicts of, that's not even a word, of like tongues and lips, and it was just bad.
Yeah.
So the second time I was really nervous about making out and like doing it properly. and we were sitting outside of the AMC movie theater, or I guess it was General Cinemas back then, at Essex Green in New Jersey, in West Orange, and I say, hey. Or it's like everybody, something about like our friends are all talking about how like we haven't like made out yet or something. And I was like, hey, let's give them something to talk about.
Oh,
and then we made out.
Oh
And
my God.
I was real proud of it back then. It's just the lamest thing.
Okay, it's the first time I made out with somebody in a movie theater. We put our heads, like before you make out, sometimes you can put your foreheads like touching each other in the movie theater. But neither of us was bold enough to kiss. So for the entirety of Across the Universe, we were like this the entire
You didn't see the movie?
entirety until
Oh my God.
10 minutes before
You were
the
like face to face. with each
noses
other?
are touching, foreheads are touching, and we go in for like one kiss, but that was about it. And then finally I was like, okay, and then I went in for it and we
There
made
you
out.
go.
But the most heartbreaking makeout session ever was
That wasn't heartbreaking.
oh no. The heartbreaking one was when someone was like, I'm gonna it was like the third girlfriend I had. She's like, I'm gonna teach you how to make out. And I already knew. I was like, I'm probably a bad kisser. But she was like, I'm gonna teach you. Don't put your whole tongue in your mouth. And then she like showed me, she put her tongue in my mouth, and I was like, wait, you did it? It's like, yeah, but your tongue's like fucking like a snake, and like, because I can like lick my
Is it
like
that
elbow.
long? Let me see. Snake boy.
And it's really big and really long. So yeah, I learned you control yourself.
I bet she was excited about that later on in life
For
when
what?
she realized what that could do.
Yeah, what was possible with your
what power
your snake
you
tongue?
had.
What could I do?
What?
Could I make balloon animals quicker than the average person?
So many balloon
So many
animals,
balloon
Sam.
animals. Not talking about mouth love.
Who
No.
can tie a cherry stem with their tongue?
I've done it once.
I cannot.
And that's it.
I can know it. It does not equate to being a good kisser.
It's so hard.
Yeah,
It
it just
is.
means you have a powerful tongue.
Very strong tongue muscle.
Winking. I need a camera on me.
Yeah.
Thank you.
The first-
So wait, so she taught you how to kiss, and then
Yeah, that was the heartbreaking when she pointed out that you don't have to stick your whole tongue in your mouth
I
to
know,
make
that's
out
what I'm bringing.
and just spin it around.
I'm sorry, pal.
Hey, you gotta learn.
Yeah.
And then the only way you can become a good kisser is practice.
My first making out in a movie theater movie was Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban.
Hot.
number 3.
One of the best. And I was like so anxious because this was like a different girl and we hadn't kissed yet. And I really wanted to kiss her, but I didn't have like the guts to do it. And I kept like looking at her and then going back to the movie because I didn't want her to like see me looking at her. And then finally, I don't remember when, it must be like halfway through the movie, I just kind of like swooped in and kissed her, and then came back out and I was like, okay, cool, that seems like she was into that. Okay, more. And that was that. But yeah, I always remember it was Harry Potter 3.
Nice.
First time I ever saw it.
Amazing.
Last quick thing, whenever I would make out with somebody, until I was 18 years old, my legs would shake a lot.
Oh,
But they would shake
buddy.
like a baby deer that's just born. Ready? So you do like a little smooch, just a little smooch,
stop.
and she would be like, "Are you okay?" Like, yeah, it's fine. And like I can't. There's nothing I can do to stop it from shaking. It's nerves,
my
and I
God.
couldn't.
I'll tell you, sometimes that happens to me too.
Yay!
When Denise and I are cuddling and I'm just real like happy, like one of my legs will like shake
Like a happy
that.
puppy?
Yeah,
Like that?
shake like that.
Oh,
just
thank
when I'm
you,
like
Ricky.
really satisfied.
Thank you, Zach. They will.
They're
shake
laughing because
so
they're laughing
hard.
because this happens to them too, and it's universal. to
No,
all
it
men.
doesn't happen. No, it doesn't happen to other people because my friends made fun of me for it. And oh man, but thank God you grow out of the weird things you do usually.
Usually,
What about
usually.
the first time you guys got mono?
I have not had mono.
I've had mono.
Summer camp.
Nope,
Oh.
not
Sleepaway
Mine was
camp.
sleepaway camp.
not sleepaway camp. Oh man, no. I don't even know how I got it. It was like 4 months after I'd moved to LA. I had just graduated from college, and I was doing this like potential internship thing at a reality TV company. And basically you had a week to develop and pitch a reality show, and then the people who won would get their shows bought by this company and you'd get a job working there. And like I could feel myself getting sick over the course of this week, and I just kind of like pushed myself to the limit. I took like 3 emergencies and 4 airbornes a day, and was like staying up late doing edits, and I'd come up with this docuseries about identical twin sisters. I pitched it, and it went really well, and then I went home to sleep, and I woke up feeling like shit. And I just started dating a girl who would go on to be my girlfriend for the better part of a year, like a week before. And she took me to the hospital, and we found out that I had mono. And even though she didn't know any of my friends, she had to like contact all my friends and like get them to help me move out of my place, because I had to move out that week too.
Shit.
So she like helped me move into my place and like was taking care of me. It was bad. I don't know how I got it though, but wiped it out in like about 2.5 weeks. It was like relatively short for mono.
Knock on wood, I do not want mono. But guys, that's it for today's SourceFed podcast. Let us know in the comments down below or on SoundCloud and iTunes, what weird thing did you do when you kissed?
Shaky leg.
Yeah, did you ever one of the worst things in the world is one time our teeth rubbed together, and because we got too close, and it still makes me have like that feeling of nails on a chalkboard.
Ooh.
It's one of the worst feelings in the world, but let us
Teeth
know.
bumping is the worst.
It is it's a goddamn nightmare. But guys, thanks again to our sponsors, Squarespace. Try Squarespace at squarespace.com/SourceFed and enter the offer code SourceFed at checkout to get 10% off. Bree, where can they find you?
You can find me at Brie Esrig everywhere, YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and check out Nuclear Family, our sketch comedy channel.
Very cool. Matt?
Matt Lieberman on Twitter, Matty Lieberman on Instagram, which I barely use. Nuclear Family. Just watch Nuclear Family. New sketches every Tuesday and Thursday.
Just watch Nuclear Family. Now you can look at my name. You can look at my name, Sam Basher, on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube. Finally got that all figured out. Took fucking forever, but we figured it out, kids. But also go listen to podcasts I got with a DJ, tall boy, very tall. He's very tall, like a tree. If you look up, he can block out the sun for me. But it's called Only Stupid Answers. We talk about comics, TV shows, movies, all that kind of fun stuff. It's a ball of fun if you enjoy any of that kind of stuff, and we just geek out real hard. So go ahead and check that out, but be sure to like this on all the platforms that this podcast plays on, and we'll see you guys next time. I'm Sam.
I'm Matt.
I'm Bui.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Here on my tuchus.
You have to scream goonbag though before you do it.
this. Stomp the shit out of my school and let everyone know that we're in charge. We're in charge.